Hello friends, welcome back to another video on Life with Becky. Full disclosure, February was crazy. I dare say it was a shite show. It just kind of got away from me. It just disappeared. Where did the month go? So this is real life around here. I don't particularly want to film this because I have no idea what happened to our money in February. I wasn't paying attention. And this is going to be full transparency of where it went. I have an entire listing of all of our transactions on the computer here to my right, and I'm just going to write everything down and see where we ended up. And I don't think it's going to be pretty, and that's okay because this is just real life. So March is starting much the same way. We did make a really rough budget for March, but because I didn't have final budget numbers for February, I wasn't able to do much with that. So we just kind of guessed. And March also is going to involve a couple trips for me. So we're going to try to keep those expenses down as much as we can, but also just kind of be realistic about it. So this is real life, folks, and if that's not what you're here for, then move on. That's fine. I respect that. But if you're here for the real life and the nitty gritty of it all, and that this is what it looks like when you don't pay attention to your money, give me a thumbs up in the comments below. I would just appreciate knowing that I'm not totally alone on this journey. So because I anticipate this being a semi-rough situation, I have brought myself along not one, but 2 Diet Pepsis. So you might hear the of the other can opening at some point. So cheers. All right, let's jump in, see where we ended up. So first of all, you may recall that one of my goals was to do monthly budgets and intentional tracking. That did not happen for February, so I cannot check that off. That's okay. We're gonna move on. I did pull cash out for these items, so that's good for February. So here's the February budget. This is what I set up the last time. So let's just see where we ended up, shall we? If you recall, I set up different categories to track some expenses. So I'm going to, I think I'm going to go through actually the one-time expenses that happened that can be on this page. And then we'll go through those. And then once those are filled in, then I'll go back through all the transactions and find the ones that fit into those other categories. So here we go. Okay, so one thing I do want to add to this item is that if you remember in my last video, I mentioned that I had realized how hard it really was for people to find cheap food and to search for cheap groceries, and how I really had kind of a newfound appreciation for that. So we did look into it, and there is a community food pantry here in town that we are going to support on a monthly basis. So with our monthly donation, plus we covered the fee, like the processing fee, because it's like through an online giving platform, and you can opt to also donate the processing fee so that they get your full donation. So we donated, it was like $109 and change, but again, you know I don't like change on anything, so that's going to be our monthly donation to that. And that's just, it's a little bit that we can do to help people who have less flexibility than we do. So a couple things to note. If you remember at the beginning of February when I did my calendar, I realized that I didn't know if I would have a water bill in March and February, and I didn't. It actually wasn't due until the beginning of March. So that means I'll probably have 2 in March. But we'll just have to see how that shakes out, because this is every 30 days, not just like once a month, which quite frankly, I wish they would just do once a month. It would be so much simpler, but that's not my decision. Didn't pay trash this month. So everything else is done except for those items that we need to track. And I actually am going to track my own fund money because I'm pretty sure I went over this month, because again, in February, it just was crazy. So lots of things were happening, and just kind of threw me off. And you know what? Real life, it happens. Not every month is going to be perfect. In fact, no month is going to be perfect, but some will be less perfect than others. January, I think I was still riding the high of new year, new systems, blah, blah, blah. But we're sticking with it. Cheers. Okay, so this is all of my transactions that I wrote down when I first set up the budget, because I had already made some purchases at the beginning of February. So I am going to keep doing that. So here we have groceries, here we have transportation. This is for medical, kids, gifts, and home maintenance. And then probably down here at the bottom, I'm going to add my own tracker for my fun money just to see how that went. So, okay, so finishing up my transportation. This is why I wanted to track these separately, because for example, I forgot already that I had to have a little bit of work done on my car that cost $210, but I never transferred money back into our checking account from our sinking fund for transportation. So I'm going to do that now, and I'll write it in here even though it was in March, but that way I know that that money is covered and it's not just coming out of our operating budget. So this is why I wanted to track these things separately. That's already proving to be useful. Okay, moving on. Okay, so here's everything for that category. Now, what's interesting is you'll see there's a lot of med stuff on here. My husband has been fighting a really, really, really bad cold for several weeks. So we had to do several trips to Walmart, Walgreens, things like that to buy those things. And then this is part of the reason why tracking this is so important, because this is reimbursement from my flex plan, and I have no idea which one of these things it covered. I could guess, but I really don't know. So I've submitted for some of these other things, and I just have to wait for reimbursement to come through. So it's coming for some of them, but like for the things from like Walgreens, Walmart, unless they're prescriptions, that's not covered. So we just have to kind of figure that out as we go. But I know for sure we do not have enough in our medical fund to cover all of this. So that's going to be kind of an eye-opener for this month. Okay, let's move over to groceries. That's the this is one that could get really interesting too. So all right, that's a lot of groceries, y'all. I know for sure I went over my budget. There's a chance that a few of these are my husband's, because he's a chef. He's a culinary instructor, and sometimes they run out of supplies, so he has to go get stuff at the local store, which like this Walmart was out by his work, and a couple of these Krokers were too. But unless he tells me that, I don't know that. So I assume everything is groceries, and then he and I are going to have a little bit more of a discussion about, hey, we need to be more clear on what's groceries and what's not. Like, send me a receipt, send me a picture of the receipt if you buy something that is not for us, so that I can then have that in my phone and have it to reference whenever I am doing these check-ins, because otherwise I just don't know. So last but not least, I am going to start a new category. Let me get my highlighter. Okay, and this is going to be tracking Becky Fun Money. So I just want to see where it went this month, because I think I had a little fun. That's not true. I think I got lazy and I also did some other things. So here's what we're going to write down. So basically most of this is me not having food prepared for lunches. Panera, Jimmy John's, Pandora, I just forgot to allow for. This was a random donation to somebody that I follow on Instagram who's having a hard time. They put up a Venmo. I just sent him a little bit of money. Aramark and Canteen are on campus vendors at my university where I work. So that's a vending machine, and that's their concession stand type thing where I just got like a snack or something. And then a ticket. My friend has a child in a show in April sometime, anyways, and I'm going to see that, so that's the payment for my ticket for that. So that's what those things are. It's fine. It's just good to know what happened, because I did actually take my cash out, and I spent the cash and still used extra money for all of this. So the Panera stuff, I could, say, well, they don't take cash if you order on the app, which is true, but that's also me being lazy and not driving over there, making the order, paying in cash, and then blah, blah, blah. So that's this. The ticket thing made me think I need to add something to our monthly. Oh, shoot. Okay, I need to do that too. So I'm going to stick it under other. Oh, as entertainment. So we spent a little bit of money on tickets because we have a lakeside amphitheater here in town, and they announced about 2 weeks ago that the Goo Goo Dolls are coming this September to Decatur, Illinois. I am so stinking psyched. Cause yeah, that's definitely my time period. So we bought tickets, $105 for 2 tickets. That was the cheapest price we could get. So that's not too shabby. So very, very excited for that. We were not about to pass that opportunity up. So we did spend some money, and that was not planned, and that's okay because holy crap, it's the Goo Goo Dolls and they're coming to Decatur. Like, that's insane. Anyways, never say there's nothing to do here. Okay. So that's listed. The other thing that just occurred to me is I actually need to track takeout because that went wild. We spent all of this money and then some. So I'm going to go back here to groceries. We're going to fast forward this. I'm going to write these down, and then I'm going to do some totaling. Okay. So I had to combine some of these because I was running out of space. But yeah, so like we went out to Pizza Hut 2 nights in a row. I mean, it's just, we ordered from Pizza Hut. Things happen. This was a really weird month. It's okay. I'm not upset about it. Okay, so moving on here, the other thing I already did, I don't know if I wrote this down. I did already save $500 for the brick. So I think I'm gonna put just a 500 here. Actually, that's all I did for February. If I do anything else, it'll be in March. So that's okay. So this is up to 4,800. Okay, that's still progress. And then while I'm back here, I also paid on my Capital One, I did $250, and on my Visa, and my credit union Visa, I did $150, and I'll do the balances later, but at least I made those payments, so those are tracked. Okay. Can you tell I'm over this process? Oy. All right. Okay, so let's get adding. Fast forward or skip. Okay, so groceries, my total was $513, which TBH is actually way better than I thought it was going to be. That's incredibly surprising. I guess I can't add very well in my head. So yay me. Takeout was $182. Again, not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I am actually really happy with that number. Okay. Editing Becky here. I just realized as I'm looking back through this that I should have added the 182 in takeout to the 100 in cash that I already took out, which makes that total 282. I'm going to make that change in my notebook and adjust the rest of my totals accordingly. Then we're going to do gas. It was $144. Again, this is low, but I'm going to wait and see how this evens out, averages out over several months. In March, we're going to drive to Wisconsin and back, and then I'm driving to St. Louis and back at least once, I think just once. So we've got some other things coming up. So The gas might go up this month, but that's okay. All right. Then, I want to total up my fund money because that definitely went wonky. No, what just happened? There we go. So not quite $100 over. Again, that's okay. We're not shaming here. So the medical fund, the maintenance funds, the house maintenance, and car maintenance, I'm not going to change the numbers here because I still set aside that money. The medical, I'm going to make an extra entry for how much we went over what we had in the medical fund because we have nothing in there right now. So I'm going to do that total because the home maintenance literally crossed it, almost exactly cashed itself out. And again, this is another transfer I forgot to make. So this is me reminding myself to transfer $34 from home maintenance into the checking account to cover for these. And I'm going to go ahead and write that down, even though, again, it's in March. Okay, so then let's total up this medical stuff. Because I started the month with no money in the medical fund. I have 50. I had 50 set aside this month, and so that will take care of some of it, but the rest of it is just going to be overage. So that one, and then everything else. Okay, let me make sure I did that right. If you don't have experience on a 10 key number pad, I highly recommend it. It helps you with these kind of data number entries really easily. Okay, so the medical is totaling out at $341. 50 of that is covered, which I actually haven't done that transfer. So yet again, transfer med fund med plus 50. So 291 is the overage. So I'm going to put that here. Because we don't have that money. So that came out of our operating budget. Okay, that's everything over here. Let me make sure. I think car maintenance equaled it or balanced itself out. So yep. So this one covered these two and this one covered this one. So that the car maintenance is completely covered. So that's great. So that I believe is everything on here. I set aside 5 for brickwork. But let's see if there's anything left over, because if these numbers total something that's less than that, I actually do have room to move money back into the brickwork and save some more. So that's good. So I'm going to do some more calculating. Talk amongst yourselves. Fast forward. Here we go. Okay, so my total actual spent was $52.54. That's actually less. I am actually really impressed with that. So the amount difference there is $161, which means I can now put this towards brickwork. So again, reminding myself, transfer the money. So I'm going to do that. The reason I'm having to remind myself, by the way, again, real life, is because I can't remember my password to get into my bank right now on my computer, and it's saved on my phone. So I can't get to that because I'm recording. So that's actually really, really awesome. I'm very, very happy with that number and with that result. That's better than I thought it was going to be. So this is a life lesson. Things are not always what they seem, sometimes for the better. So just do the work and see what happens. So I'm actually really, really proud of that. That's awesome. Mike, if you're watching this, woo. So that's great. I'm very happy about that. And I think that was a good lesson learned over the month, and I think that's really helpful to know. I'm not going to fill this out. I'm not entirely sure this is going to be useful to me right now. So I'm just going to move on and start the March budget. What I think I'm going to do, guys, because to be honest, my budget numbers are really not changing that much. We did set a little bit of money aside in March to go on our trip. We're taking a little 5-day weekend up to Wisconsin while my husband has spring break. And we set a little bit of extra money aside for that trip so we can go do a couple things. We're going to go see a show in Milwaukee, and the rest of the time literally just bum around, which is going to be so nice. Bumming around means something completely different when you're not in a space that has a to-do list for you. So we're going to do that. We set a little bit of money aside for that, so that might look a little bit different, but I think I'm just going to check back in when we're up there. I'll have my March budget filled out, and we can talk a little bit about how things are moving forward. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for following along with me, for sticking with me. These are getting increasingly longer, and I apologize for that, but at the same time I don't, because this is real life. So anyway, I hope you're doing well. Have a wonderful week, and remember to stick with it. Consistency means sticking with the thing you said you were going to do, even after the feeling you said it in has left you. So stick with it. It does pay off in the end. Thanks for watching.